All right, we'll just give everyone just a few seconds to hop on. Alrighty, we are good to go. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Audrey Hamilton. I am the entrepreneurial assistant. I'm also the admin of the entrepreneurs community. If you're here, we are so glad to have you. Tonight we are having April Daisy as our guest interview. April, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everybody. So I study colors intuitively and I research them and I help people see where the colors are showing how they express themselves in their lives, colors in general, um, and show what show what colors are doing for us or not for us in our lives.
Yeah, I love what you do. April's kind of helped me a little bit kind of understand some of what the colors are and what they can mean for me. She basically got me off that when she said, you must not have red in your closet. Red is about confidence, and I really needed it at that time. And I had no red in my closet, just like she said. I was like, oh my word, you actually know me and you've just met me. It was the first day we talked to. So that's just how good she is. She is very, very good at what she does. So, like, how do you feel like you're able to actually like know people? How that happens? How like did you know that I didn't have red in my closet very much?
Okay, so in general, if you think about the rainbow, different
Mhm.
colors attribute different vibes. So red tends to be a very straightforward vibe. So people who are really opinionated and really sure about themselves, and I don't want to say don't make excuses, but they tend to be really sure about what they believe and why they believe it. And that's a red person. But then when you have doubts, it just means that you don't have red. Having a color or not having a color isn't a bad thing, but it shows different aspects. Like if you didn't have blue in your closet, then you really wouldn't talk much and you would probably be a big introvert, so on and so forth. So it's based on how we're acting that sometimes I notice what colors are there already or what colors should be there for different changes.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does. I mean, it's true. I do feel like they always have had a thing. I've just never been like very much into it, but you were like really good at it. You take it to a whole new level that I've just never seen anyone else do. It's been very surprising. So what kind of areas have you helped people in? Like, we've done a few calls before. You've said you've done like you've helped people with their housing, business branding, and different stuff. Like, can you explain more about some of the services you provide?
Okay, so my initial service and the one I do the most of is personal um, looks at colors to see what kind of personality you have, what you're good at, what you're not good at, maybe what you need improvement on. So I started that as kind of an interesting, odd thing. And I do that mostly. I have recommended house colors to people because they wanted a certain vibe. Um, I have done relationship colors where if you know one person has two or three colors that they prefer and one person has two or three colors they prefer, and that actually showed how one person handles life and how the other one handles life, and maybe what's conflicting, maybe what's not. I've done that. I've chosen colors where they could agree with, say, like their living room, and maybe they're not agreeing on what color they can have. And I've done business consults for colors for businesses to show the certain kind of vibe for how they want to express their business and the kind of customers that they want. Um, like orange is great for, say, a gym or a physical activity business, something that requires movement and really going to get from here to there, things like that. And blue is good for motivational speakers. Blue is awesome for motivational speakers and things like that. And just showing the different aspects of where a person is and where they like to be, and changing and sorting colors, kind of like if you're in a dressing room, want this color, don't want this color, and what it does for you when you choose it.
That's really cool. Definitely for anyone who's like wanting business stuff or any of the things she mentioned, but I know that there were several people kind of wondering about the business branding. If you'll need something, ask her. And definitely ask April. She will help you out. She'll do a good job with that and stuff. I'm having her help me with my business stuff. I'm rebranding my colors in starting next year, but I'm going to get kind of the colors before then sometime so I can start rebranding. So April will be helping me with that all. So make sure you guys do that. So about how long have you been doing this, April? How long have
Um,
you been a color intuitive?
I have been intuitively studying colors for about 8 years, actually. And in the beginning, it just seemed like a little fun. And then I would study them a little while and then do other things and then study them again. But then I'm always interested because it's never ending. I mean, there's like, you know, say 150 whites alone, and the colors are just constantly out there and shifting, and it's always fascinating. So I've done it for 8 years, and I just continue to study and continue to see where they go and what they say, and it's always fascinating.
That's really cool. 8 years is a lot of years. One day I plan on getting up there with this business. I will be there for 8 years. That's my plan. I've actually planned on being there here for a lot longer than 8 years, but 8 years is a start.
Well, it has
So
to start
about
somewhere. That
exactly. It has to start somewhere. 8 years is a start. Let's get there first. Most businesses fail at about 2 years, apparently. Let's make it last a lot longer than that. So, what's some of your favorite colors and your least favorite colors? And can you kind of explain some meanings with those?
Sure. Um, so my favorite color is actually like the brown that I have right here. Actually, um, it's a deep medium chocolate silky brown. This is my favorite color more than any other color, and um, it means that you're solid, kind of like dirt. You're there. When you step on it, it doesn't go anywhere. It tends to be a person who, if you told them a secret, they wouldn't tell anybody. If you needed to share something and they were being non judgmental about it, that's what brown does. It's solidly helping you on your way. My other favorite color is a really, really soft yellow. Almost, I mean, you can see that it's yellow, but not very much further than that. And to me, that's like, it's like a hug. It's like, I don't want to say what could possibly go wrong because you know how that goes, but the soft yellow is like it's a happy color. It doesn't ask for more than you're willing to give. It doesn't expect you to do more than just sit there or think happy thoughts or be careful and carefree and relaxed. For me, it's a relaxing color, so I like that one. Um, my least favorite for a while was pink. And I know I say that, and a lot of people like pink. So then, but I'm just starting to like it. And it's becoming a more recommended color because pink says, I make sure I'm involved. So if there's a group discussion and people are trying to make sure that they get their 2 cents in, the person who likes pink definitely makes sure that they get their 2 cents in, and they make sure that they're involved and that they're not left out. So I'm starting to like pink, but for a minute there, it was like, if you like too much of a color, that's not good. And I knew people that had too much pink going on, and they were just like self destructive, like
Yeah.
really, So then I was like, well, I don't like pink at all. But then I've gotten to where, okay, a little bit I can handle. So I started inserting it in my life. I painted my nails a couple of weeks ago pink, and I was pretty happy with that. So that's like was my least like. And green isn't necessarily my favorite either. Green is the color of support, pretty much like where flowers grow on plants. You've got the leaves that are green, and you've got the foliage that is green, and it's support, and it's nurturing, and it's, well, I'll help you. Nurses probably like green. And I didn't like it because I felt like it's hard to replicate nature in green, like for paint colors and, things like that. So, not to say that I'm not nurturing, not to say that I won't help, not necessarily with people. It just means that I'm not necessarily going to be the solution every time when it comes to something, you know. So if green's for nurturing and green's for tending to, people who like it will tend to more than people that don't. That doesn't mean they won't, help somebody who needs help in some way. So those are my four, two likes and two dislikes.
Very cool. I agree with the pink. I never liked pink until actually this year. Now I handle very light shades of pink. I still absolutely hate hot pink. I'm just like, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I actually do tend to see this in businesses. Not, if someone has hot pink in here, I'm not saying something bad about you, but I do tend to see that they are very like out there. They're very out there, which is a very good thing, but I do see about the destructive manner you're kind of talking about. A lot of these businesses I've seen with a lot of really, really hot pink, and that is like their main brand kind of thing, they tend to be a bit more self-destructive in a way. And I have seen it, and while that's not a bad thing, being self-destructive is not good, but I see pieces that are like missing that can easily damage them if they're not careful. So
Yeah.
I have seen that. I have seen that a lot with actual businesses and stuff. And males accepting males that wear pink. That's fine. Okay. Sorry, I was just reading a comment. And but yeah, I do see that. So I like more of a light pink. That's almost not pink,
Well,
but
right, right. And that's kind of how I am. I'm okay with just a little bit. I have two pink shirts, and I wear one, and it's a medium pink, but it's not a hot pink. But hot pink tends to say, look at me, like all the
mm-hmm.
time. And that, for me, I don't always want to be looked at. I don't always want to be, on the front page, so to speak. And that's what that
Yeah.
color does. And with any color, if that's what you mainly have and you don't have something to balance it, it then becomes, you know, where it's like you said, it's on all the time and it doesn't seem like it's growing in a direction that's healthy.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I agree. I do agree. And I totally get too about the green being very like helpful and nurture. That's how my boyfriend is. While I like green and I'm willing to help people out, that's his favorite color. And he's totally
Okay.
that kind of person when someone is in need and someone needs help, he wants to help them out. And while I am that kind of person too, he just takes it more than I do. He likes
Right.
it, he does it more. So but I do like it. It's really cool. So how did you get started about sharing this business with people? This is a very unique business model you kind of have. So how have you kind of like taken the approach of like in a way marketing it?
I have shared it with people. Um, I just tell people what I do. Um I did a workshop in June locally to share what I do. And I've done, like, I did a radio podcast once about it. I just talk to people and tell them what it is I do. And some people are like, well, then we need to get together and tell more people. And it just sort of snowballs from there.
Also, if anyone has some questions, please let us know. We are monitoring the questions. I forgot to let you all know, but if you guys have any questions, let us know. So, and our thing is a little bit behind, so we'll like give it a few seconds. Is there anything else you want to add about colors or anything?
Okay. So, my suggestion, because this is the one takeaway, if there's a color you don't like, I suggest you adding it somewhere. And people tend to be like, well, but I don't like the color and I don't want to do that. But if you add it, like I have this pen, just pick a pen, pick a coffee cup, something that you won't necessarily wear, and not saying painting your wall, but I'm saying just, get a coffee cup, set it aside for a while, or it can be a pillow or something. And what it does is it helps shift why you don't like it. Now, sometimes for some people, that's deep things. We're talking childhood things. That was unexpected for me when I did that last book. But there's some deep reasons some people don't like some colors. And sometimes they just don't like the colors. Like, I really don't like the green. I don't have a preference to that. I don't like it. But sometimes it becomes deeper things. So that's why I'm like, just add one thing. And what it does is it slowly, color slowly helps shift things. They're not overnight changers. They're not quick fixes. They take time, kind of like baking a cake. They just take time, but they do change things. And so with the color that you don't like, it allows you to expand and then get rid of a block. Because if there's color you don't like, it's a block of some sort. Orange is a great example. A lot of people don't like orange. Actually, my number one people don't like is yellow. But orange is an easy one because if you don't like it, you don't tend to finish everything you start. So if you add orange, it will then help you get to your goals. Same thing with other colors. If you don't like blue and you get a cup though, you will learn to express yourself because that's what blue does. So it helps you overcome things that maybe you don't realize are blocks. Or maybe, you just never thought about it. Because there's a lot of people that don't ever think about colors and what they mean for them. until something like this, or they read it in a book, then they're like, oh, well, I don't like that color and I don't like this color. So that is my one big thing, is to bring something into your space you don't like and let it sit for a minute. The other thing is, if you have a color wheel, which I don't have right this minute, but if you have a color wheel and you notice it, because you can look up one online, whatever colors across from the color, say your favorite is red, across from red is green, add the balancer color. That way you're not overdoing it like pink or too much orange, or because I did a workshop and the lady said, well, I had this lady who has so much orange that she doesn't actually complete her projects because her mind is just going, you know, 90 to nothing and everything. Well, orange's balancer is blue. So I'm like, you might want to insert a little blue into her life. So therefore, she's not running on empty, and it gives you that balance in there.
That makes sense. Balancing stuff is important. Also, just in life itself, is just important. Make sure you balance everything so you don't go crazy. So Renee is wondering about red.
As a like,
What it means, maybe?
okay.
Sure.
So
Let me
I
ask a
don't, I
little
don't
bit.
have the messages. So red in general means you know why you believe what you believe. What it means is, um, I'm sure of what I believe. I trust in what I believe. And that's the road that I live. It's passion and conviction and trusting yourself. That's red. The limits of it is, if you're always wearing red, then you may not listen to another alternative solution, which is why I'm always like, it's okay to have a favorite, but need to be open to something else. And so red is the color of why I do what I do. So if you already have it, then you're probably a very talkative, um, sure of yourself person. People expect answers from you and you give them. If you want to try it out, I suggest adding it into your space carefully. Red is a very bold color, and it'll just take over everything. Red makes no excuses at all. So you can go ahead and do that. Yes.
No, red doesn't take any excuses. I'm sorry. That's my sister's favorite color, and my sister doesn't take many excuses for her own stuff either. She's very confident, very bold herself. I really like how you end up actually nailing a lot of people with the colors and stuff. Just how you're talking about it describes my family and people I know very perfectly. Like, I actually know Renee, and Renee is very balanced herself with being bold and confident, and she has a little bit of red in her logo with yellow. So it's just how you describe those two colors, though, it went directly with what I feel like. I think of her automatically, and me and hers talked a bit, but we haven't like talked a whole lot, but I can tell that she's just that kind of person. So I
Okay.
like it.
So that's pretty cool. And having the red in the logo will attract the people that need what you're looking for. Um, because sometimes you are attracted to red because you want the results. And so having it in your logo just a bit will draw the people that are looking for results and want to work with somebody who understands their whole premise and what they're doing and what they're after. It's not too much red, I hope. You know, you said it's in there. Yellow's really good for encouraging and welcoming. So that's a great balance between, I can do this for you, but I'm not going to bite your head off, in those two colors. So that works
Yep,
well.
it does. I think so. All right. So let's not ask her too much about the colors because this is what she does. If you want to support her, support her. But we do have another one. Sugar's wondering about purple.
Purple, I love purple. Purple is the color of bigger thinking. So if you think of a situation and you've got all four corners and you have this person and this person and this person and this person, the person who likes purple will notice the whole picture and who's involved and who's not involved and where they can go with it. And if you make a solution, you can see where that solution could go. It's a bigger picture thinking color. Um, the downside of that is you think so big you don't make a forward step because you're looking at every solution and maybe don't want to disappoint.
I will admit to that. I will admit to that.
So maybe too much is like, you know, you're stopping yourself in your tracks. So that goes.
I'm not stopping myself yet, but I do realize that about myself. And I'm like, okay, we gotta take steps forward. We can't just look at the pictures and come up with all the solutions. But I will admit with the purple, I do think too much and I think of all the solutions to the fullest capacity. And if I'm not careful, I will not take a step. I will not take a step at my goals. I gotta watch myself.
Okay, well, purple's balancer is yellow.
Ah!
So you
I
may
need
want
more
to throw
yellow.
some red in there.
I need to put more yellow around me.
A little less, a little more yellow. And and it's great. And people will come to you for those ideas. People will come to you because while your vision is bigger, the people that come to you, their vision may not be that big. And so
Mm-hmm.
it can be that step that they need to then go bigger for themselves. And then your job is to have a little yellow so that you don't, get stuck in the purple.
Yep, I gotta make sure I don't go overboard on it. Yellow will help tone it down. I am making a note. Add yellow. All right, that sounds like a plan. I will start wearing something yellow. I don't like dislike the color. It's just not a color I first choose. I don't really actually have a color I dislike. I just have to
Well,
wear more difference. Actually, purple is not even my favorite one. I just like purple and it's become my brand color right now, but my favorite's more like a steel blue gray.
see, I have some people who say that to me. What if I don't have a favorite? What if I don't have a dislike? And that tends to say things too, because some people are like, well, I know you're looking for an answer, but I don't have one. And if you don't have a favorite, that usually means you just like including everybody. And you really don't want to see anybody get left out. That can go back to, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 school, whatever. That's a thing that can have a block from way back. But in general, if you can't pick a color, you just like to include everybody and maybe don't want to make that decision. That's okay. Maybe you do like all the colors, and that's okay. But that usually means that you know, you're the one that they come to for Thanksgiving dinner because there's always a plate. You're the one that your door's open. Your neighbors know your door's open. They keep an eye on your stuff and they know that you keep an eye on them. If you have no color that you dislike, that kind of falls under the same thing that you are easygoing, laid back, and you don't feel like any color anybody should be left out. But that also could mean that you were the last one picked as a kid and you don't want anybody, you know how that feels. So you don't want anybody to be that last picked. So it's got kind of the same underlying with different little perspectives about it. So those are,
Mm,
there's still tells. Even if you have, I don't have a favorite. I do have a favorite. It still says something.
yeah. I really am very, very impressed with your business. I really am. Just how you said there that with the last favorite colors, not really having a favorite color and stuff. I was the last kid. I was always the last kid being picked. I don't know why. I was just the introvert. I was kind of like the one person that everyone just forgot about. And this is coming from a lady too. Me and April have only talked a few times. She knows very, very, very little about me. We have talked for a few times, but never really much about my childhood or anything. She doesn't really know me personally. She doesn't know the trials going on in my life or anything. And she's just here and she's actually saying things that's going on that is actually going on with me and just kind of taking me in a nutshell too. I'm like, oh, who is this person? I'm very, very, very impressed, April. You do a very fantastic job at this. Anyone who wants to work with you is very, very lucky. And you need to get on a call with her if you need some help or anything going on. Just hop on a call with her. So, yeah, you do a very, very good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, it was just something in the beginning, and then now it's just become, the more I uncover, the more I want people to know, because my other thing is, go in your closet. This is my go-to thing that I tell people. Go in your closet, open your door if everything's hanging, preferably, or in a drawer, and you'll see there's colors there and there's colors not there. And they're a form of self-expression that people don't realize is there. Like whatever shirt you chose today, well, that's really based on your mood. Sometimes it's because you have dirty laundry, but in general, it's because of how you're really feeling on the inside, and you just don't say anything about it, but your colors do.
Yeah, and it's true. It's very good. You do an amazing job. So, you really do. So, how is one of the best ways to get started working with you? I have a link up above in the description, but is there another way? Like, do you want them to message you
You
or
can
anything?
always private message me. I check both folders because I'm in groups and people will message me that aren't my friends. So I'm always checking both folders. You can always get with me. Um, I offer just a 1 hour session, which would be kind of like this, where these are your colors you like, these are your colors you don't like. What does it mean to get you on the way to where you want to be with colors? Several people who worked with me will then message me later, just that 1 hour, message me like further down the line and be like, look, I tried the new color you recommended, and I'm expanding my horizons here, and I'm letting go of this here. And it's literally just in colors, which makes me happy because there's such an awareness of what we're doing with them. And then I have like a whole month where we would discuss the colors you prefer or don't prefer, and then more colors to expand where you want to be and where you don't want to be. Like, I don't have red in my wardrobe. I don't. But I have had it every now and then, and I know what it's good for. So some people may be, well, I don't want to discuss red at all, and that's fine. But you can discuss it, find a shade that works for you, and give it that little shift of confidence without disowning that your favorite color is something else. You just learn to work with it as a little side cheerleader without it taking over the whole team, so to speak. And that's what that would do, because once you start noticing how colors really are working for us, you then tend to look for it and change with it and let it help you in ways you like and don't like, and so on.
Very, very cool. Well, again, I am very, very impressed. You always do a really good job. I always learn more every single time we talk to each other about colors and stuff. And you're fantastic at what you do. You really, really are. This is a very unique business model. This is actually one of the most unique I've seen, and it is really cool. I really like it. I wish more people would end up doing it a little bit more. Not to throw you out of business, but to just bring more awareness to it, to what you do.
Right,
It's
right.
just really cool.
There are other systems out there. I know when I first started, I tried to find people like me, and I really didn't. I found one lady in Australia, but I never spoke to her. I just knew that she kind of did colors like I did, but in a different way. There are certain systems. There was one, and I don't remember where it was. They had little bottles, and they would have one color or two colors in those little bottles, and they had about 30 bottles. And you would go into their business and you would pick certain bottles, and then they would tell you your story like I do. They would just tell you about yourself. And I thought that was fascinating. And I never caught on to that because it wasn't what I was doing. So when people come to me, it's how I relate and can express it for them. And then if you do another system, well, then you'll get something else, maybe similar, maybe not. So there are things out there already. Um, it's just still not a whole lot, and that's why I like what I do and spread the word, just so that people will know how to do the color, awareness and changes. And I mean, you may go in your closet after you're done with this and just throw out a color you don't use and say, well, I've never used it, I don't want it, why is it in my closet? Or you may decide today's the day to use it. You
Yeah,
never know.
that's really cool. Yep, you never know. You may need it one day. It might just be what you're feeling one day. So I really like that. I do have another question I forgot to ask you. What do you do about the color mixtures? Like some colors have like another little hidden color in there, like blue could sometimes be more like a steel blue and stuff. How do you kind of interpret some of those?
Okay, so when you have an underlying color like that where you can see both colors in there, it's a combination type answer. So if you have, like, say, a steel blue, and I just picked one today to go into my deck actually that I'm doing, and well, the blue means communication. The steel is kind of a grayish color. So if you have the blue and the gray, it generally means that you're willing to talk about certain things, but you're not going to make this decision for somebody, because gray isn't a decision making color. Gray is for timeouts and um, neutral ground. So you can still talk because you have the blue, but it'll only be for certain things in a certain way while you're timeout. So you may talk about a situation with blue gray, but you won't make a decision with that. It would take something else to make that happen. So when you have two color mixes like that, or like a red orange, or like any other mixture like that, it in general combines the colors for the most part. And then it also depends on whether the color is too light or too dark or medium, and that also matters. That also matters. So they combine.
Okay, very cool. Very, very cool. Um, does like the light, like for instance, light blue or dark blue, how much of a difference does that make? Is it like the light blue, like just a lighter shade of like, I see blue as very like open, like you said, communicative kind of
Well,
color. Does light blue kind of make it like less communicative, more on a shy side, or does it change meaning?
right. Right. If you look at your light, medium, and dark, your light colors tend to be very limited in what you're willing to do with it. So if you have a light blue as a color to pick, you'll talk about things, but not a whole lot. You might not share your personal self, and you might only talk when spoken to. I mean, you might be an introvert, complete introvert, and not say too much. I always recommend if you want a new color, make it the middle of the road medium. You can't go wrong with that. It's solid. It's usually pretty sure about where it's going and what it'll do for you. And then you have the dark color. The dark color can be a block, or it can be that you're knowledgeable. So with a dark blue, you can either just talk so much that you're not listening, like I'm sure I'm always right. I'm sure everything I say is valid when it may not always be. Or it could be that you're knowledgeable in such that you studied something, therefore you know what that means. So, um, if you were like the doctor of, say, neurosurgery or something, and you were having a conversation and you like dark blue, then that means you would talk about the neurosurgery with confidence because you've learned about it and you have the years of experience with it and you're pretty solid in what you're sure of. So that dark color can be a good thing and not a good thing. It really depends on the whole picture. But middle of the ground is always a good choice.
That makes sense. That makes total sense too. I like it. So does anyone else have any questions? Anyone in the comments? Anyone at all? Do you have anything else to add, April? Let's see if anyone else comments in a minute.
That about covers. If you need to, colors can also be signs, and that's another whole area completely. But if you're noticing a new color and you're like, oh, I noticed, say, that teal green, it's a new color meant to help you. The universe, God, however you want to call it, is sending you a color personally, like, here you go, here's a new color. And it's up to you to choose to do whatever you want with it. Um, but it's trying to help you with something with your path, and you can only, it's not necessarily meant to be a forever color. Sometimes colors will come just for a short time. I know um, I took a trip out of state to visit my daughter, and I had a deep teal green 3 times on that trip in 3 different ways. And that was great for me. And I listened to it, and I knew it meant that I felt it meant that I had support while we were going, being looked after and stuff on the trip. But sometimes you only have a color for a minute and it'll come and go. I did that with red once. I had a red jacket that I don't know where it came from. True story. I don't know where it came from, but it was a pullover jacket. It is the most beautiful red color, and I was working nights, waiting tables, and it was cold and it was winter, and I wore this jacket for like 2 months in winter, and I loved the jacket, and it gave me that whole confidence, and I was just so on power, and I was just so bossy at that point, and everything. And I totally enjoyed that red. And then one day the jacket's gone. That's it. I swear. I looked high and low for that jacket. I didn't find it anywhere in my stuff. It
Oh
came
my
and
word.
it came and went. So sometimes that's a sign to change something, shift something. If you're going through something and you're asking for a sign, a color can be it. And if you've noticed it, my rule of thumb is kind of like 3 times. But if you notice it, go ahead and embrace it and live with it for a while, and then it might go away. And then you might one day go, why did I ever like that color? But you needed it for a minute, and that's why you liked it. And it's okay to not like colors. That shifts and goes. I know one woman, I did a thing with her. She had like favorite colors 2 years ago, and every 2 years she changes favorite colors. And that's how her life itself was going. So you never really know. You can have a favorite forever, and then you can have a favorite for 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I like that too. How it doesn't don't have to stay solid on the color. It is one of those that is changing all the time. One week you can have a favorite color, the next it could be something totally different, or you can have it for a whole lifetime or whatever. But you're always able to change. And I think as you change and as you like grow into a different person, your favorite color changes. So
Yeah.
I like that. All right, you up for one more color question?
Sure.
Okay. Denise Corona is wondering about black. This will be the last color we do. We don't want to like over expand your knowledge on colors and stuff. We want to make sure you get
Okay.
support where
So
needed. But
black's a great one. I'm glad we touched on that one because I was thinking we should, but it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite color at all. And my 10-year-old goes, "Why don't you like black?" I really don't like black. Like really don't like. But some of it is that uniforms, people are supposed to wear black for uniforms. And a lot of people wear black to hide things like, oh, well, I weigh a little more than I want to. Black slims me down. Black looks neat. Black is always the go to. And that's fine in moderation. But black to me is the color that limits you. It stops you from doing things you want to do. If your whole wardrobe is black, and it's not that you don't do things, but if your whole wardrobe is black, you don't see opportunities for connection. You don't see opportunities for um, talking with other people. The easiest way to describe black is we're going back to the circle here. So if your personal space circle is like this big, the black gives you more personal space. And some people like that. Some people like don't want to be hugged or don't want to shake hands or don't want to whatever. So they'll subconsciously wear black to things. So black gives you more personal space. But in other ways, you then can't communicate the way you want to. So a lot of people, especially with depression, will wear black because they figure, well, I just want to hide. Black's a great color to hide, but you don't need to hide. You need to talk to people. You need to interact with people. So I tell people if you're really fond of black, wear some other colors that will draw attention so that you're not only in your own little space with black. Black is just very contained and it doesn't necessarily give you the connections and the communication and the need to hang out with people, which is actually what you need. I mean, everybody needs to talk to somebody. So black's okay in moderation, but it's really not. It's good if you need a break, but it's not good to wear it every day, all day, and then wonder why you're not getting anywhere, or end up depressed or upset, or you become your own hamster in your own hamster wheel with black, and you need other colors to pull you out of it. If you're in that spot where you like black and you're noticing this and you want to change it, but you don't want to do the neon pink because there's a big drastic change between black and neon pink.
Pink. Yeah, really.
Way big change. If you like black, you're not going to start wearing neon pink, I can assure you.
I
But
agree. I agree.
so choose other darker colors like navy blue, even brown, even dark green, something that pulls you out of the black and slowly work your way into maybe still not hot pink, but a medium down the road color that then gives you more of the communication that you're probably looking for.
That is really cool. And I love it. I really do. Yeah, Denise just said, not a neon pink girl. Yeah, really, neon pink is interesting. I mean, I gotta respect that they are very open. I really do. Anyone who loves neon pink, I respect them that they are so like social and so outgoing and stuff, and they don't mind being the center of attention. And I could respect that, but it is not for me. That's not for me, not at all.
Somebody likes the color. I'm okay with that. I'm
Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. Well, is there anything else you want to add in, and anyone else in the comments that want to have a question? If we could try to avoid colors now, we just want to be appreciative of April and her ability. If you guys want to book a call with her or anything, you can go in the link above, or you can send her a direct message. So any other questions? Anything else you want to add to, April?
no, I think that about covers all the important stuff for tonight.
All right, that sounds good. Just give people a little bit longer. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. This will be replayed. It'll be in the group. And then I will also be uploading it to my YouTube. And then April will also have a copy of the video for her to do whatever she likes with it and stuff. So just letting everyone know. And we're going to call it done. All right. Thank you so much, April, for coming on. You are absolutely amazing. It's been great having you and stuff. I love everything you do. I will be one of your biggest supporters over here. I will be just shouting your praise over here. So
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody here, thank you so much for showing up. It doesn't show on my feed that anybody's here, which I'm sad by, but I'm glad to know you're all here. And I'm hoping, you go forward with colors in a more aware way and change something tomorrow, even.
exactly, exactly. And if you still want to book a call with her, book a call with her. Go get something now from her. The website link is up above. So, all right. Thank you so much, April. You have a great evening, and we'll be talking soon.
Okay.
Bye.